we are now going through possibly the worst teacher shortage in our history. Parents dropping their kids off this morning did so knowing that some of the classes scheduled today would not have a teacher in them. Some schools are operating on 3/4 of the normal staff level, and classes are simply going untaught. Ironically, this would leave parents with mixed feelings. What's better, a class with no teacher or a class with a teacher at the front brainwashing students into thinking that Australia is evil and that they are all destroying the planet? It's almost funny until you remind yourself that this is our kids' future we're talking about here, and that we are paying through the nose for a system that will fail whichever way it goes. The whole facade is based on a simple conceit, which former Treasurer Josh Frydenberg repeated in the budget papers when he brought down the budget papers in March this year. The papers said, quote, "The government is investing record funding in Australian schools to ensure that all students are equipped with the necessary skills as part of our plan for a stronger future." Now, set aside that Frydenberg was boasting about spending a record amount of our money, profligacy has been a measure of good government ever since Gough Whitlam almost broke the nation's finances in 1975. And look instead at the sleight of hand. Record expenditure will ensure the best outcome. This doesn't pass basic mathematics. No matter how much we increase our expenditure on education, our standards barely improve. Our ranking on the Program for International Student Assessment, which tests kids from around the world and compares the results, has not changed since 2015, despite our increasing outlay on education. According to NAPLAN, the number of Year 9 students who can meet or exceed national or minimal standards has fallen from 95% in 2013 to 83% in 2019. Clearly, it's not a problem of how much money we spend on education. And some parents are voting with their feet. The number of kids being homeschooled in Victoria, for example, went from 4,433 in 2016 to 7,296 in 2020. That's an increase of 53% in 4 years. Now, these numbers are still a tiny percentage of total students, but one imagines the number has exploded even more since the pointless Victorian virus lockdowns, when many exasperated parents would have taken their kids out of school permanently. The Victorian government says, quote, "We do not ask parents why they register their children for homeschooling," unquote. As if they need to. Remember, these are parents who still pay for the education system, but are opting out of it anyway. Now, in some ways, it's unfair to single out Frydenberg, who is no longer in Parliament anyway, as responsible for this. He's not. The constant decline in educational quality is being perpetrated by politicians at every level, who have no awareness that the results will be a disaster for Australia. Again, this is not to say that there are not good teachers in the system, and any who remain there and are trying against the odds to imbue kids with a love of real knowledge, devoid of ideology, deserve our eternal gratitude. But you have to wonder about the motives of the people trying to transform our formerly functional schools into mindless indoctrination centres. Is there a more sinister reason why they want to produce generations of kids who can't think for themselves?